Hello, in today's video I'm going to show you some simple steps to enable you to turn your roads from looking like this to something like this. Let's go. So firstly, let's edit the shape of the road. As you can see in this example, I've made it significantly wider. I'd recommend 4 blocks for each lane. That's what I use, because although most car designs are 3 blocks wide, you can get some 4 block wide truck designs. Also, currently it might look too big, but once you see it in the city context, which you will see later in the video, it does look about right. Secondly, what I've changed is I've raised the pavement on the left just by half a block and on the right by a full block. You can choose either. Half a block looks more realistic, however it is easier to build the surrounding area on a full block, so that would be my personal choice. And lastly, the textures. I would recommend grey concrete powder as opposed to the grey wool, which looks rather 2012 in my opinion. I think grey concrete powder has a colour and grainy texture most reminiscent of tarmac compared to the other blocks, such as wool or mud, shown here as well. Now, before we get to the details that will really transform your build, I would like to mention that in terms of elevation changes, if you want to go up or down, you should only go up 1 block every 6 blocks or more, otherwise it does lose some realism. So here's an example of the steepest I would ever build a road. But even this would be reserved for specific circumstances, such as leading up to an overpass. Now, the details, which, as you can see, add so much life to the build. One way of doing this is by using manhole covers with some smoke coming out. To do this, just dig down 3 blocks, place a campfire and then a blast furnace, level with the road. The extra block below the blast furnace does mean that there's less smoke coming out as if it was just directly below it. Also, to add interest, you can have a zebra crossing as shown here with some traffic lights using banners. As you can see, the street lamps have 2 blocks of polished andesite, then 7 blocks of andesite wool, and then the top as shown. This is just a suggestion. You could design a light of your own to fit your style of build, which I would recommend. You can also make a roadside sign using glass panes and end rods, as I'm doing now. I'm not sure how well it works. It's up to you if you want to add it or not. Lastly, I'd say add some greenery. I'm currently building it by the road, but you can set it back a few blocks if you have the space. It would be likely more realistic if you did so. I think greenery is important as the green of the grass and leaves gives a splash of colour to the roadside, making it far more aesthetically pleasing in general, and overall gives a more warm, nice atmosphere. Now, let's get to some pre-built examples to show some even more unique and interesting ideas. So here is a 4-laned road with a zebra crossing. What I really wanted to show was how you can add those lamps you often see by the crossing. I'm not sure what they're called, but anyway, it uses alternating diorite and blackstone walls, and the new ochre frog light works quite well on the top. This design also incorporates a traffic island, which can often be seen on busier roads. Here is an example of a cycle lane incorporated into a road. Here I've done it in green as depicted in this photo, however blue cycle lanes do also exist as depicted here. It's worth mentioning you don't need the bushes lining it, I just added them for personal aesthetic reasons, but a single white line would also work, as in the photos shown before. Now, you might have noticed that I've broken my own rules here and built in 3 block wide lanes, but this has a very interesting reason. You see, sometimes when roads aren't built with cycle lanes, the lanes need to be narrowed to get enough space to incorporate them later. So if you include the cycle lane, the total width is actually 14 blocks, which happens to be equal to a 3-lane road with 4 block lanes, making it kind of realistically accurate. Here's also an example of some hanging traffic lights in Minecraft. But now let's have a look at some of these roads in a city context. So I'm currently in my survival world, and you can notice the same street lamp designs and zebra crossings and manhole covers. However, there are some things that have been added that you might want to add to your builds. Firstly, there's an example of how you can have multiple layers of greenery. So the roadside plants are far shorter when compared to the taller bamboo, which is further from the road and therefore gives a nice graduation in height as you get further from the road, so as not to feel overpowering. Over here is an example of some street side parking where I have changed the block to cyan terracotta to highlight that it isn't part of the main road, and I think that works. Also, around this junction over here, you can see that there are some bushes edging the pavement. What this does is it enables the pavement to be set back a bit from the road so that it can have like a smoother curve as opposed to a sharp angle if it was right next to the road, and I think that makes it more visually pleasing. Anyway, that's it for the video. I hope this was useful, and if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.